Most beginner figure skaters or adult skaters believe that progress just means practicing more. But what if I told you your progress is actually being held back by a set of mistakes that you don't even know or realize you're making? Hello friends of the internet. If you're new here, hi, hello, welcome to the channel. My name is Kathy and I'm a 27-year-old competitive figure skater living and training in New York City. In this video, I'm breaking down the top 3 biggest mistakes that adult figure skaters make or beginner figure skaters make. And trust me, I've been there, I've been in your exact shoes and made these mistakes and realized how detrimental they were to my progress, which is why I'm sitting here to let you know these things today so you stop doing them. My biggest goal is I'm learning through trial by error, and I want to share insights in a way that gets you there faster than I got there myself. So we can all start skating with more confidence, power, and progress. So this first thing may be something you may or may not heard before, but I want to frame it this way for you. When you first start getting into figure skating, it must be very exciting. You always wanted to do it. You always see people doing the cool jumps, the cool spins on the Olympics, on the big screen. You're like, wow, I want to do that. And I understand what that feels like. The moment you get on ice, you want to be able to do all of those flashy moves as well. Maybe you want to impress a hot date when you go on a skating date with someone this winter. Or you just want to have that one cool trick that you can show off to your friends on ice. However, the mistake that we all make is that the path to actually doing those elements well is 10 times harder when you don't have what are called good skating skills. And this is the single-handed biggest learning I've learned myself throughout my 7-year skating journey, is that you don't learn skating skills from learning elements. You learn your elements through learning skating skills. Okay, you're like, okay, what does that actually mean? When you think about skating and you break it down, every single one of these cool tricks or elements that you want to do are stemmed from basic skating skills. They always stem from something about being on a curve and being on a proper edge. If you think about it, the Lutz jump is all about your ability to stay on that outside edge. If you can't hold that outside edge, there is no Lutz. If you ever want to try the axle, you realize that 70% of the axle is a forward outside edge takeoff. No forward outside edge, no axle. When I first started skating 7 years ago, I made the biggest mistake of feeling like, oh my God, I'm running out of time. I started late. I have to start nailing all of my jumps. I have to get my waltz jump, my toe loop, my sow cow, and eventually get my axle before I run out of time. And every single session I go to the rink, I dedicated myself to doing these elements and I completely ignored my skating skills. And you don't notice how bad it is until the first time you put everything together. Bad skating skills really start to show up when you start putting things together and you realize you have no speed, no flow, no ability to actually show off the elements you worked so hard to get because there's no way for you to connect them. Often you can tell how advanced a skater is by looking at the in-between. So not even exactly all the jumps and the spins, but how they transition seamlessly from one element to another. And I will go on and on about this, but this is so important because when you have good skating skills and then you go and try to learn an element, you learn it with so much more precision and speed. Not only are you fostering better technique going into that jump or spin, you no longer feel as afraid to actually attempt those elements, and fear and mental block is like 80% of the challenge for beginner skaters or adult skaters. So trust in yourself that if you work on your skating skills, your elements will come instead of the other way around. You do not learn how to skate by doing the tricks. You learn how to skate first, and those fundamentals build up to your ability to do those elements seamlessly and gracefully. Another question that I get a lot in my coaching calls, in my DMs, in conversations that I have with other adult skaters or beginner skaters is they always ask me, how long does it take to get from X to X? Or how long does it take for me to get my axle or my Lutz or my loop? And to that, my answer is it always depends. And sometimes people don't like hearing that answer because they want a definitive timeline. But you have to stop yourself from having the mental mindset that you're running out of time. I know how this feels because I've been there in your exact shoes, thinking that I started late, so I have years and years and years of catch up to play, and how long will my body be actually able to do this and sustain this? So I must do everything, land all my jumps before my 20s or 30s because after that, like, I have no more hope. And that is completely false. There are people doing doubles in their 40s and 50s, and it is totally possible. You don't want to rush. You want to learn things over time with good technique, because let me tell you, it is so hard to reverse bad technique. If I were to go back in time, I would rather get my Lutz landed later than land a bad Lutz or a bad Flutz with bad technique. And if you want to accelerate your process and actually learn good technique and what that looks like for the adult body, that is exactly why I'm launching an adult figure skating progress accelerator to help adult skaters at any level achieve any goal they want on the ice and to build their on-ice confidence. If you're feeling lost and frustrated about your figure skating and journey, don't be afraid, you're not alone. This program I'm launching is meant to hold your hand at every step of the way and give you the structure and guidance you need by working with me one-on-one live to achieve any goal you want on the ice. So when the program launches soon, I will be taking only 10 students, so there will be only 10 spots. So sign up on the free waitlist today to learn more about how to book a free guaranteed one-on-one skating consultation call with me and get exclusive access to free resources along the way. Sometimes skating is not about training harder, but training smarter and more efficiently. When you're going through your journey, don't get distracted by all the noise. Don't compare yourself to kids or other skaters or even other adult skaters, because everyone is on their own journey. You probably see my posts, you see other people's posts. Don't compare yourself to anyone, because you really just have to stay in your own lane and trust what is right for your body. And I was recently in a collaboration video with some of my good skating friends, Rachel, Sophia, and we made a video saying how long we've been skating and what element we still cannot do. And you'll be surprised. Even Olympians would say that they don't have a specific element because sometimes those elements just don't work for their body. For example, a lot of Olympians actually can't do an outside edge spread eagle just because their hips were not made to turn out that far. And that is totally okay. They still went on to do amazing things, but they just can't do a spread eagle. And that's okay. Not being able to do that does not make them any less of an athlete. So never rush, push yourself, but always treat time as an abundant resource, not a scarcity. So another thing that I get a lot and I hear from a lot of adult skaters that I coach and I talk to, they always express being stressed about fitting skating in either before work or after work or just running on a tight schedule. So I know how it is to feel like, oh my God, I'm already waking up so early. I'm barely making it to my session and to the rink on time. I need to immediately lace up my skates and get on the ice because every second of that session matters and I'm paying for it and ice is expensive and I don't want to waste any time or money. But by doing that, do you know what mistake you're making right there? You are subjecting yourself to a 200% chance at increasing your risk of injury. And that is the third biggest mistake I see adult figure skaters and beginner figure skaters always make. And that is skipping a dynamic warm-up and skipping recovery. And you know what this also stems from? This stems from an identity issue and almost an imposter syndrome issue of feeling like the things that you are doing and learning on the ice aren't aggressive enough or hard enough to warrant you having a good warm-up. And you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna go and just stroke around or practice a 3-turn. I don't need a warm-up. Wrong. That is a big mistake. You're basically self-sabotaging yourself and your progress. Not only do every time you don't warm up off the ice before you get on, you're increasing your risk of injury by over 200%, you're also reducing your on-ice progress and efficacy by a significant margin. If your muscles aren't warmed up and not firing, they will not be firing and doing the right things on the ice. So you might realize the first 20 minutes of your session on the ice feels extremely productive because your muscles aren't even warm enough yet to actually make use of that precious time on the ice. So I urge you, do not skip this. No matter what you're doing on the ice, at what level, no matter how simple or basic it is, you need to stretch after and dynamically stretch before. And if you need help and you need guidance on that, I have a free 10-minute dynamic warm-up routine that I have in a PDF. You can download it, you can keep it on your phone, you can print it out, take it with you to the rink. Just please, please, please do a dynamic warm-up before you get on the ice. And then after you skate, recovery and stretching is also important. Again, no matter what you do on the ice, you can't just be like, oh, whatever I did was not important enough or not strenuous enough, so I'm just not gonna stretch after. And especially for adult skaters, and for me, I finished skating and I hit the desk immediately at work. So even if your schedule is that busy, after you drop from that first call, if you have 5 minutes between meetings or whatever it is, just do a little stretch in the corner. Whether you're in your office or at home, take the time to move your body and really dedicate that time to recovery, because it will matter so much in the long term, and it will promote longevity in your sport. So you can do this thing that you love for as long as you can. And again, that goes back to my last point. It makes you create more time for yourself to achieve the things that you want to achieve in life, instead of always being stuck in that scarcity mindset that you're running out of time to do X, Y, and Z. At the end of the day, it's these little things that we don't actually realize that we're doing every day that are slowing down our progress the most. So hopefully this video was helpful. If you like more videos like this about figure skating, all things adult skating, please like, comment, and subscribe. It would really help keep the lights on so I can continue to spend time, energy, resources to give you guys the best access to information and resources there is for figure skating on the internet. Be part of the 20% of people who watch my videos who are actually subscribed versus the 80% who don't get the full benefits of all of my videos. Once again, link in the description down below to join the waitlist for my adult figure skating accelerator program, and link is also in the description below to download my free 10-minute off ice dynamic warm-up routine that you can use to prevent your injury risk by over 200%. Best of luck on your individual skating journey. Know that I'm always rooting for you. Until next time, I'll see you guys. Bye.
Every night I try to love, but your heart is made of stone. All my tears, they fall like rain.